Good evening and welcome. It is Thursday the 6th of November 2025. A good evening to you. It is just after 7 o'clock on the Thursday here. Of course, now we're into our winter time, so it's all very dark. I've had to put the lights on. Luckily though, I don't have the heating on yet. My name's Jenny McCormac and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire, and that is here in the UK. A warm welcome to you. This evening we are continuing with our stripes and dots cards. Just wondering what I've done with the stamp set. Here it is. That's this one here. So it's in the annual catalogue on page 93. And the basic stamp set consists of 4 stamps, as you can see here. But if you saw my live on Monday, then what I've actually done is made this into 7 stamps. So I've cut the the set of 9 strips here into 3, and then this one here with the dots I've cut into a line of 3 and a line of 2, and that just makes them a little bit more useful rather than having to have a full amount and masking, for example. These are the cards that I made live on Monday morning. So we've got this one here, and you can see where I've used the 3, and then here's another one. I've used combinations of the lines of 3 dots as well. Hopefully you can see that. And then this one was as the original with the stripes, the chevrons. I've used the layering thoughts for the nice bold sentiments, and then I've got dots across the top. And this is one of those sets that is really easy to use. As you can see, I've got some other samples here as well, and I've got this one here that can have a circle or a rectangle put on top of the layers. What I want to do today is I've got a couple of ideas in mind that I thought might be worth a try. I'm going to do one design first and then put some of the others to the test. Fingers crossed. So good evening to you. I can see Caroline has joined us, and if you are live, don't hesitate to say hi. It's always nice to know who's watching. I can't always tell who is watching us, so if you want to let me know that you're here, then please do just say hi. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp onto a piece of our white card, and I'm hoping this is going to work. I'm going to stamp some stripes going across, so I might put all of these back together again to minimize the amount that I need to stamp. So I'm going to have these going across there, and then I'm going to have, I hope you've had a good day, Caroline. Thank you so much for dropping those bits and pieces in. And then I'm going to have some dots at the bottom. So what I might do is the dots first, and then the others here, and then I'm going to stamp something else, probably in a circle. That's a little bit big, that one, in this circle on the join, maybe a cake or something like that. Could be a flower, it could be anything really. So let's pop these back on. So if you saw, if you're watching on Monday or you've subsequently seen it, these are the ones that I cut apart, but without tidying up the stamp, you can easily put those layers back together again as if they were just a single stamp. So let's grab a little piece of grid paper It's been a busy week. Thank you to everybody who signed up for my class in a box. I've been busy getting those ready. I've had one delivery of products and I'm expecting the second one on Saturday. I'm going for nice bright melon mambo, nice bright pink this evening. I think I used a little bit of pink maybe earlier in the week. So I'm going to stamp my cross piece first, and then the lines going down, and then I'll share with you the idea that I had. We'll see whether it works or not. It's one of those that I thought, oh yeah, that would be a really good idea, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, so you have to bear with me when it doesn't. Okay, so let me move this out of the way and pop this on here. Now, I do want most of those showing, so I'm just going to put this on the bottom. This piece measures 9.5 centimetres by 13.85. At least it should. Who knows? Okay, so there's my dots at the bottom, and now I'm going to do stripes going the other way. So let me pop these off for a second, and because I want to do a lot of stripes, I'm going to put all 3 layers of these back again. So there's one. I don't know if it's that piece. Yes, I think it is. That one there. Oh, thank you, Caroline. They might always look good. Sometimes it doesn't work out as I've expected. Let's put it that way. Sometimes it works out better. Okay, let's try that. Pressing that down. I'm going to stamp it on here just to see how straight that is. And then while I'm doing that, I wonder if you can, what you think I might be making with the stripe patterns in a minute. See if you come up with the same idea. You might come up with something else, of course. Okay. I'm just making sure there's plenty of ink on here. My Melon Mambo probably needs to be re-inked, to be fair. But let's put this on here and see what it looks like. Yep, I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's re-ink it. Have chosen strawberry slush or something that's probably got more ink in it, but let's go for that. Okay, so what I want to do is I want my pieces here to be vertical. Now, when I had it in my mind, I was going to do it on 2 pieces and then put them together, so I'm braving it and putting it all together on one single base piece. I'm making sure that I'm close to that top edge, like so, and we'll add plenty of pressure. There we go. Okay, got a little bit of a gap there, which I can see here, which is probably where these 2 are joining. Not quite in place. Let's try that. Okay, I'm not too worried about that because I'm going to stamp another one here, And if I'm not happy with that, I can stamp it and then cut it out as my original plan was. Okay. So just making sure I can see actually that I haven't got those exactly level. Right, let's do that. And then I'm going to do the same thing again. And I hope I've got it right. Now, if I wanted to do this more accurately, I would use my Stamparatus positioning tool, because then I could ink them up, press them down, and if it wasn't exact, I could ink them up a second time. Let's see how we go. Okay, yes, exactly in the same spot, and I suspect it's where I haven't quite pushed it down, but I'm okay with that. Alright, so that is our background. And then what I want to do is find my smaller dot here. I'm not quite sure which way I could put that. I could put it this way, but I'm actually going to put it like that. And I'm going to have something in there. And my gut feel is a piece of cake. And I've got some cake stamps here. So I've got a base, so if you remember this from a little while ago, called Cake Celebrations. This one here with the layers. So I'm thinking, I was going to use that. I'm going to use Melon Mambo and for my cake, and then Lemon Lolly for my sort of layers of icing in between. So let's move that out for the minute and grab a smaller block. Actually, I might do it the other way around. Have Lemon Lolly as my cake. And then if I have space, I can put a sentiment at the top. Right, let me have a look. This is a good, oh, well, it would be a good cake colour if it was clean to start with. I think it's probably okay now. It obviously had something on it, a little sort of hint of blue or purple or something. Okay, so let's bring this in. So this is just on a die cut circle. And this is going to be the bottom of our cake, like so. Still got a little bit of dirt on it, but it'll be alright. And then let's have, I'm going to match the same pink, like so. Let me just see if I've got something just to wipe that with, just to make sure it's clean. So I hope you've had a good day to everybody who is watching, whether you're watching on catch up or live. So I'm going to do some icing layers like that, and I'm just going to bring this down so that it overlaps slightly, like so. Hopefully you can see that okay for my cake layers. And then I'm going to do another layer with the lemon lolly. Just making sure that is clean, or cleaner at least. It's amazing how much ink can stay on a stamp. It's probably a good 4 months since this was last used. Okay, so I'm going to pop this layer sort of in between, like so. There we go. And what I'm actually going to do is another layer. Just there. Just to fill that out, make it a little bit deeper. Okay, now I can put another layer on there, or I could put some little candles. There are some candles on here. I could also put a few little flowers. What shall I do? Shall I do the candles? Yes, let's do the little candles. And the candles have got little flames as well. Okay. And let me just get this the right way round. Okay, and I'm going to start in the middle and just bring that a little way down into the icing. Like so. One on the right hand side. I'm hoping that's in your view. Yeah, just about. One on the left. Like so. So Daisy. Let me lift that up so you can see that a little bit better. Okay. And let's put those little flames on as well. Tiniest little stamp here. I'm trying to work out which way around they should be. It goes up. Not that I think it really matters, because this is quite light anyway. So I've just got my little flames here. There we go. So they're very light. I'm not sure whether you can actually see that on there. Probably can't see the little flames at the top. Okay, now I've got this piece here which is not as crisp as I would like it. So what I might do is it's going to put celebrate over the top, but it's a little bit too big. I've got birthday, wedding, birthday, happy. They're all a bit big. Right, let me swap to a different stamp set then, and I'm going to put a smaller sentiment on there. So in round we go. We've got happiest birthday. That might work. Let's have a look and see. So there's happiest birthday. Yeah, might just get away with that. And what I'm actually going to do is stamp that and just cut it out. I can wend my way back. Okay, let's have a look. Right, let's put the flames back so I don't lose them. And bring the cake back in. Have you worked out what I'm going to use the spots and stripes for yet? You'll have to let me know. Okay. Right, let's try this out. That's better. Okay. And then I'm going to put happiest birthday on top of that, and then just cut it into a rectangle. And I'm going to use this in Melon Mambo on top. Like so. And depending on your choice, you could just cut that with scissors, you could cut it with a trimmer or a guillotine. If you've got a punch, you could use that. I've got a trimmer, so I think that's what I'm going to use. So I can take that just to the edge there and there, and then just lining this up along the track. That's that one, and then make it a little bit narrower. Oh, needs to be quite a bit narrower, Jenny. I'd forgotten I'd done 2 layers. There we go. It's a little bit better. Let's move these out of the way. Okay, so now I've got this piece here. Going to be the bottom of our cake. I wonder if I might just can get away with that. I'm going to put that on with some dimensionals or dimensional tape, which I happen to have some just to hand. Let's grab some scissors. Going to cut that roughly to size. Pop that onto there. This is going to go on there. trim it down a little bit. Like so. And then we've got this one here that we can add in. And if I've got lemon lolly pen, I might just colour a little bit that in. You can be almost certain I've got everything except that one. I've got dark daffodil delight, lemon lolly. So I'm just going to fill in that little bit of my icing. Oh my goodness, there's hardly any in there. Let's see, I've got light daffodil. That would be better. I don't want it too dark. So just going to fill that in. Like so. And here. It's that one. Okay. So that's going to go onto there, and I could actually, if I have some Melon Rainbow ribbon, I could put that between the stripes and the dots. Having a quick look. I used to have a lot of Melon Rainbow. It used to be one of my go-to pinks. But this is actually strawberry slush, but it's pretty close. So what I'm going to do is just trim that and wrap that round here. I've got a little bit of tape. And that will just help me wrap that ribbon round and hold it in place. Okay, so if I just hold that up to the light, I can see roughly where that edge is going to be. And you can just tear this tape, you don't have to cut it with scissors. You'll just literally tear, take the backings off. And then I'm going to wrap this tape around here. You could also, if you didn't have ribbon to match, you could use a piece of coloured card and just put that across, so it becomes like a faux ribbon. So just wrapping that round there. And that's now sticking with the double-sided tape. And then I've got a piece of Melon Rainbow card, so that's going to go onto there. With some glue. Sorry if that's a little bit off screen, I'm not sure. Not sure how straight my camera is, because I tend to move it out of the way when I've finished recording anything. I lift it up out of the way, otherwise it's a nuisance. Sometimes I forget to put it back. Right, just have a look. I've got a Melon Rainbow pen, which I have here. So I'm just going to use that to fill in my little gap here that I've got. Is it light? Yes, it is. So the secret is not to try and draw it back in if you've got any gaps. It's just to put tiny little dots like so. There's a little one here that I missed as well. You could also use a blender pen in the ink if you didn't have blends pens to match, and then if you've got any little gaps, because I didn't do a very good job of stamping for some reason, then you can fill those in like so, and you wouldn't really know. Okay, so my little happiest birthday can go onto there, and then I could add a little bow in here. I could also put it in the middle, and I could also do it like so. My gut feel is definitely this way, like so, and I can pop that up on dimensionals as well. Just cut that into sort of 3 larger squares on the back. One, 2 and 3. You just want to make sure it's supported, that's all. You don't have to go all the way around it, but you really don't want one just in the middle. And also this way it's going to be around the ribbon. Oops. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is put that lightly to the left. I haven't pressed it down, and then just use a little bit of this ribbon, thread it underneath, tie a single knot, and then it'll look almost like a bow, but you don't have the height of the bow or the bulk either. Once I've done this, I can press that down properly. Okay, so just a tiny little bow like that, and when I'm happy with this placement, press it down. That whole piece is going to go onto my base card like so. Oh, I'm sure you did, Caroline, I'm sure you did. I love the card you made. It was great. I'll add that to my photos. Okay, so there we are. We've just used the stripes and the dots from the stripes and dots stamp set. So one idea that I had just looking at them quickly is to stamp these. I'm just going to use another piece of card here and then cut them into strips so that they look like candles. Let's have a change of colour. Let's use bright orange pumpkin pie, and I'm going to stamp the chevrons, these ones here, like so. Let's take the cake pieces away for the minute. And my thought was to stamp them and then cut them into strips. Let's pop this piece underneath. And ink this up. So this is pumpkin pie. So nice bright pumpkin orange. and we'll be back in Brackley tomorrow afternoon at the Chatty Parrot Cafe for some more stamping using this particular set. So I'm just going to do 2, and you could do them in multiple colours, obviously. Maybe I'll do 1 in Old Olive. Which always looks nice with pumpkin pie. Oh, hi Margaret. It is Stampin' Up. It's in our annual catalogue. It's on page 93 here in the UK. Oh, hello Kerry. Good morning to you. And it's £24 and it's a set of 4. But what I've done is cut it up to make 7 stamps. So I've cut the stripes into 3 and I've cut the dots into 2. So I've ended up with 7 stamps altogether. I'll show you some of the samples at the end. So I've just stamped those in pumpkin pie. So thank you for joining us, Margaret and also Kerry. And I'm going to do one of the chevrons in Old Olive. So this is just an idea in my head. Heaven knows whether it will work. We'll find out in a minute. So that's those. And then I also thought these would work as candles at an angle, because typically around here, certainly if you buy just inexpensive candles from the supermarket, they tend to be stripes at an angle, usually one colour and white, to be honest. So I could just try that. I want to try it on another piece of card. So I'm not sure whereabouts you live, Margaret. Do let us know if you're here in the UK or somewhere else. Okay, so you know how to sort of think in your head how this is going to look. Let's try. I can do that with Gorgeous Grape, a nice deep purple. So this is just a little bit of playing to see if the idea I have in my mind actually works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So I've got all of those that I put back together like so. Right, so I'm going to stamp this at an angle. And got in, I think I probably got enough, and I can see that I haven't put it exactly flat on the stamp, which is why I've got that little gap there. I've obviously put them back in the wrong order, but let's just see if it works. Because we're just going to trim these up and have a look. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my trimmer and cut these down and see if they look like candles. They might not, of course. Who knows? Okay, so I'm going to cut this one just in from the edge, and this measures about 2 centimeters, so I'm going to slide this along to 1 centimeter, and then I can trim them down accordingly. Oh, just got that one in. Let's do the same with this. So about 1 centimeter. Obviously, if you've got a stripy candle stamp, then fine. But I thought these would make great little candles. Obviously, these are rather large at the minute. But it was really the principle to see whether it was going to work. Like that. And then I can take that one in too, basically, and half. Okay, so I reckon those are quite candle-like. Oh, hi Margaret. So Margaret's in the USA, in North Carolina. Excellent. Yes, it's one of those that's easily overlooked, I would say. So let's just see. I'll show you some samples from earlier on, or you can check my YouTube channel, as all of my videos get lifted up there, and you'll see some other samples. Now you can, of course, stamp this in alternating colours as well. Let's just do that one. There we go. Okay, just tuck that away. So yeah, I reckon they're quite candle-like. So you've got the wide stripe. So this comes from the chevron from the stamp set. This one here, and then these I've stamped at an angle to get that effect. And then what I would do is put these in my trimmer and trim them all to exactly the same height. Just to save time, I'm going to just cut them for the minute, like so, and then just use that to cut the others. So this is not a rocket science measurement, this one. And also you can make these as big or as small as you want, depending on how you stamp them and cut them. So I'm just using that for the length, nothing more, give or take. Okay, let's move those out of the way. So I've got a whole set of candles. Let's do the same with this. I wasn't going to mix and match them, but maybe I just will. So you can have a big happy birthday across the top. I mean, these might be too big still. But it's always worth, when you've got stamps, is looking at different ways of using them. And obviously these are perfect for backgrounds. You could also use them for adding patterns onto other stamps. So for example, the dots you could stamp into the center of a flower. You could mask part of the flower off and use those. So now I've got a whole bunch of candles. Let's see if I've got enough to do a decent pattern. There's another green one somewhere in here, isn't there? There it is. So I could do 1, 2, 3, 1. I did only stamp one lot of greens, didn't I? There we go. That one on the front, like so. Or I didn't do them all to the same height. But you could take a piece of plain or coloured card. Let's just grab one. And put a nice big happy birthday across the top. Let's just use this one just so you can see the sort of rough finished results. Stamp that in. Gorgeous grape. Oh yes, the birthday cards with lots of candles across the bottom is a great idea, especially where you've got the cards that open out. If you wanted like 80 candles or something, that would be a great way to do it. This birthday seems a bit insignificant now, but there we go. So happy birthday. And then you could lay these. Now you could either draw the little flames in. I'm trying to think. I bet there's a leaf punch that you could use, and you could have these different heights if you wanted to. I'm just going to position these here so you can see roughly what it would look like so. Pumpkin pie, another green one, that one, an orange one. So stick those down. I've moved them down a little bit and trimmed the bottoms off. But let me just see what we could use. That's so this here, from the one that's got the heart and everything, has got 2 leaves. You could punch that out in pumpkin pie or daffodil delight to make flames. You could have it just a little bit behind. Let me just see if I've got anything else that's small. Stars. This one would do it, and a little bit smaller. So this punch here has got this little leaf. Let me just grab got a piece of crushed curry, and what I would do, just for speed, I'm going to cut it with scissors, but I would cut a strip with the trimmer, for example, and then just punch out. Yeah, that would work perfectly, wouldn't it? For little flames. Whoop. There we go. That was enough to show you what it's going to look like. So I'm going to bring these down. I need a bit more space. And what I'll do is I'll finish this off rather than do it all live, because I've gone on long enough. I might stamp another old olive, and then you could add these, and I would probably add a bit of colour with a blending brush as well, or with a blends pen, just to give it a little bit of interest. So sort of just add in a little more detail for the flame, and then pop these on here. Of course, if you don't want so many candles, do it the other way around in portraits rather than what I've done, which is in landscape. But it does give the option to add quite a few candles. So what have I got there? 4, I've got 8, so 9. You get about 10 with some spacing. These are 1 centimetre width, each of those candles. And then you could add the flames on, going across like so. Let's just put a piece of card over there so you can, so that's sort of what it would look like. So a little bit of fun. So I'm going to finish that. I'll tidy them up, do them a little bit better, but I just wanted to see whether stamping those and then cutting them into strips made them look like candles. And yeah, they sort of do. And you could, if you wanted to, rather having tops like that, you could cut them at an angle. I'll do it from this end so you can see. I would do it on the coloured piece, like so, and then they look a little bit more like they've actually been burning, like that. So make sure you cut it across the coloured piece so you get the contrast with the white. So there we go. So the answer is yes, you can make those stripes into stripy candles. Thank you, Kerry. So I will go on and finish those off and make a card out of those. So the stamp set itself is called Stripes and Dots. Here in the UK it is £24 and it's in the annual catalogue. Let me show you what we've made today. So I made this one here using the stripes coming down, so just stamping on a rectangular piece of white card. Stripes coming down, the dots going across, and then I've used just a die cut circle with a little cake on and added a bit of ribbon. But just to show you some other samples, because it's really unlimited what you can do, and especially in terms of colours and things. So this is what I did on Monday. So just using the stamps as they are. And then I cut the stamps up. So for example, the dots I cut into a 3 and a 2. And that enables me to do this one here. And then I didn't tidy them up, so you can literally just push them back together and make that stamp back again. And then this one again did the same thing. So the stripes, there are 9 stripes altogether, and I've cut them into 3 groups of 3 for the same thing. And then that one with the dots, and then lots of other variations, just doing them in a sort of patchwork design, doing them at an angle. This one would also make a line of candles, like so, but you'd have to probably draw in the little candles. Thank you. Just different combinations really, and then a dotty happy birthday. So a bit of everything. So I hope you like them. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. So I am live 3 times a week. Here in the UK on a Monday morning and a Wednesday morning at 10 AM. I'm afraid I don't know what time that is for you, Margaret, if you're still watching. And then on a Thursday evening at 7 PM, so an hour prior to the time now. So thank you so much. We are back to Christmas cards next week for our stamp set of the week. So I do hope you're able to join me for that, and I look forward to crafting with you again really soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great morning, afternoon or evening. And yes, great to hear from you, Kerry. I know we haven't caught up for a little while, so it's always nice when you pop in. And as I say, I'll finish the birthday candle one and pop that both on my Facebook and on my YouTube channel. And I look forward to seeing what you think. Thank you so much. Do take care of yourselves, look after yourselves and your loved ones, and I hope you keep crafting. Bye for now.